Hi there, welcome to my channel. I have one of the most interesting things sent to me for review, and this is the NexiGo Q500 PS4 controller. It's a PlayStation 4 controller with asymmetrical analog sticks, back buttons, and a ton of other features. So I'm excited to give this thing a try, so let's get to it. With that though, so far the box is pretty nice for one of these lesser known brands. The controller's on the front and on the back of the box, good colors, and it's really informative. This is also compatible with the PS4, iOS 14 and above, Android, and PC or Mac. But it's clear that it has PlayStation insignias all over it, so I'll be focusing on the PlayStation aspect in this video. So let's get this open and see what it looks like on the inside. Pretty good unboxing experience so far, and I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, pretty simple, just some bubble wrap around the PlayStation controller, some instructions, and it looks like there's a cable. And that's pretty much the contents of the box. The cable is unfortunately a micro USB, but the Dualshock 4 uses micro USB for charging, so not too big of a deal. The instructions are very thorough. It pretty much goes over how to sync up the controller to whichever device you want to use and how to set up the back buttons and turbo function. In addition, this does have Bluetooth, so that's why I mentioned it's compatible with smartphones earlier in this video. And I'm not big on motion controls, but this does have 6-axis gyro that PlayStation controllers have. There's also vibration, and the most important thing is this has a 10-hour battery life, so it's a bit better than the DualShock 4. Here is the main attraction, and sorry, those analog stick protectors that's around the stick area looked really funny to me, but good idea to this company. That actually keeps them nice and safe and secure. But so far, the controller in your hands feels really nice, has that good ergonomic feel. There's a touchpad right there, and I'm liking how this feels. There's actually some texture on the grips right there, so if you have sweaty palms, that's gonna be really good for you. But the analog sticks are very nice. There's a good texture on them, and they're pretty tight, so if you like tighter analog sticks, you'll definitely enjoy this controller. So I sped up the video just a bit. The D-pad does have textures all around the left, right, up, and down buttons. There's some juice in here. That's the home button or PlayStation button. And right below that is the turbo button. The right analog stick has the same feel. You can see the square, triangle, circle, and X. They have a little cool design from NexiGo. Here's a closer look at the textured grips. It goes pretty much all over the left and right side. There's a little gap in between, but you can feel it on the front and on the back. And the only part without that texture is right there at the seam, and it's smooth right there, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference if you're holding it this way. R1, R2, L1, L2. They have a nice clickiness to them actually, so if you press that down, R1's really easy to press, and if you like elongated triggers on your L2, R2, or your back buttons right there, then this is the type of controller for you. I'm kind of indifferent about them, but it is a really nice design, and it's a cool little bonus for those who are into that sort of style. But I'm most excited for these back buttons. You do have to switch that slider to on if you want to use them. I will go into this more thoroughly towards the next part of the video, but I'm really excited for that. There's a headphone jack, so if you want to use your headset that's wired, it's perfect. So far for $39.99, this is a fully equipped controller. So I'm gonna change angles for the next scene, grab my PlayStation 4, get everything set up, and I'll be off of a voiceover into live commentary. So we have the PS4 Slim right here. It's the COD World War II Special Edition from a few years ago. So that's the only PlayStation 4 I have in front of my computer. The other ones are set up somewhere else. But anyway, I have my capture card running. And the easiest way to set up any brand new controller with a PlayStation is just use a cord. And specifically with DualShock 4s and even this one right here, the NexiGo controller, they use a micro USB. And the same thing applies for PlayStation 5s. So the cord just goes right there. And then just find a available USB slot. And as soon as that's plugged in, you'll see that it's actually on and charging. Press the home button. And we're connected. Let's just use, one says logged in because I have my other DualShock 4 connected, but this one will now take over. I'm going to pan the camera down just a little bit right here, and so I can hold this. So we don't even need this cord anymore. It's a wireless controller as well, and everything should be working. Pressing right, pressing left. Go to the first icon, to the last icon, and everything works. Home button works. Hold it down, and it's pretty much that simple. And to see if all the buttons work, let's just open up Apex Legends. So we're gonna test out every single button, and then I'm gonna go on the back side, and then we'll set some of the back buttons right here. I already have it on, and by default, I believe this one's square, this one's triangle, or I might have it mixed up, but you can always change it, and it's really easy. So all you do is press set, choose your button, whichever one on this controller, and then press the paddle or the back button you want it set to. So when playing, I feel that there's one issue already in my hand. It feels a little bit smaller than Dualshock, and if you want to access the back paddle button, I wish I could have grip. Your grip is going to look like this, right? And a problem with me is whenever I want to press that button, it seems that my hand touches the elongated trigger right here. So that's something I have to get used to. Maybe contort my hand just a little bit, but that's one problem I see already. But everything else seems to be working just fine. I've tested this out for the past couple of days on a PlayStation 5. So spoiler alert, this does work on a PlayStation 5. Let's get to the firing range. And ready up. So as you can see, X worked, triangle worked. And I love the sticks. They're not too loose and not too tight. They actually feel a bit tighter than the DualShock 4 controller, because I've been comparing the two controllers, and I do have a back button attachment on the back of the DualShock 4. And so far, everything is holding up quite well for the past few days that I've tried this. But I do like the stiffness. There's a little bit of stiffness here compared to this. It's definitely one of those things where you have to feel it for yourself, but this does feel a bit more stiff. Anyway, so we're gonna press the left stick in to run. Let me look down just a little bit. There's slide, jump. Let's get his little stim shot going over there. So that's working. Let's get this button going. Reload. Triangle. Get to fists. I don't have a second gun. There's a stim again. Let me see if I can pick up some sort of throwable. Let's get the right D-pad action right there. Aim towards, I don't know, let me just put it over here. Let's hit him right on, and everything works. And it hit him right on by went past him. Options button, working. Share button. Always lags on the PS4. And there's the melee. Crouch. Down for emotes. Down button works. Up button works. And everything seems to work so far. So by default, I think these two buttons are set to square and triangle. But personally, whenever I play these sort of games, I love having this left side. This is where my left hand usually is. I love having this set as a sprint button. I'm one of those people who don't use toggle sprint, so I like to maintain my own sprint button. I set this to sprint, and I always set the right side to crouch or slide. Let's get this set up. All you do is press set. So as soon as you hold this down for 3 seconds, it's gonna flash. And when it's flashing, it's ready. So I want the first button on the left hand side to be sprint. So press that in, and then you press the button. And now, so I'm not sprinting right now, as you can see in the game. I'm gonna try my best to show this off. I'm gonna hold this down, and now I'm running. Such a weird angle. And then this button, same process. Set. Now it's blinking, you see it right there. Circle, and then the right side. So now whenever I press this, I'm crouching. So all of those buttons work. Let's see the formation of my hand as I sprint, slide, sprint, slide, crouch. So you can see my issue here. When I press the right side button, this is what my hand looks like, and unfortunately my knuckle starts scraping on this just a little bit. I have average size hands, and this is a smaller than DualShock 4 controller, so when I do this, it does transition from time to time. So when I shoot, it's not really pressing it because my hand shifts. So from time to time my hand will scrape just a little bit, but it's not an issue because it kind of fixes itself over time when I have to start shooting. So that's just one thing I wanted to point out. So the last thing that I want to show off on this controller is something I don't condone. I don't condone turbo buttons in competitive gameplay, okay? Because this button is essentially a cheat, and it's just not good for, you know, especially if you're trying to be competitive and play ranked or whatever it may be. Just be fair. Don't turn this on. But I do have to show it off because it works, and it works good too. So the best example I can say is the G7 Scout right here, okay? I'm gonna pick up the G7 Scout. I'm gonna put the biggest extended light mag you could put on there, the gold one. Reload my gun. All right. So essentially, before the turbo button's turned on, you shoot it, right? And so just like with any semi-automatic rifle you have in any video game that's a shooter, the faster you press, the faster it shoots. But otherwise, if you just try to hold this down, because it's semi, it's just gonna shoot once. The problem with turbo buttons is the G7 Scout is stronger than most of the other light ammo guns, and if not the strongest light ammo gun. So if you hold this turbo button and then assign it to R2, this is what happens. I have everything set up, my fingers aren't touching any of the other buttons, and essentially this turns into a fully automatic gun. And that's very dangerous in this sort of game, because if you have a fully automatic G7 Scout, and let's just say you equip it with everything, purple stock, purple barrel stabilizer, and let's just do it 2 times. 2 times HCOG. So, aiming, turbo button set up, you're just gonna see me hold it down. All you're gonna have to do is adjust your aim. And it's that easy. But what makes this even worse, this is like one good example, but if I jump over here, grab a longbow, essentially everything becomes an automatic weapon, but some of these bolt actions take a little bit longer to reload, so I'll just grab this just to show it off. If you want to use a sentinel, it would be this slow. So, you know, it's not that bad, but if you use a longbow, let's get this digital thread on there. Let's grab the purple extended. Actually, let's grab the gold extended. Purple stock. And looks like we're missing a barrel. Purple barrel. Alright, so we have the purple barrel, fully kitted weapon. We're zoomed in at 4 times. The problem with the longbow, let me actually use it with the dummy right here. There's no recoil adjustment. So if I hold this down, 2 headshots with a purple shield right there, they're done. And so that's a big problem. So that's why I don't condone using a turbo button, but I'm just showing it off because this one does work. I use a turbo button on my Switch for Animal Crossing, and that's just for like harvesting stuff or crafting a bunch of things. But if you're going to use this for competitive, check this out. Zoomed in all the way. Longbow right here. There is no recoil adjustment. They're done. Other than that, this controller is like fully set up, turbo, back buttons, asymmetrical design for those who don't like the traditional PlayStation design. If you're more of an Xbox fan and you have a PlayStation, this might be it for you. Everything works. This thing has vibration, headphone jack, micro USB, which is a boo-boo, but Dualshock 4s use micro USB, so there's no problem there. Back buttons. If you just want to reset everything, just reset that to factory reset, so this goes away and this goes away, or gets set back to default. And overall, besides that little gripe I have, this feels like a really good controller. It feels nicely built. It feels just as heavy as DualShock 4. I like the textured grips for the sweaty palm players. But overall, for 20 bucks less than a DualShock 4 controller, you get pretty much everything you'd ever need in a controller for a pretty good price. So I give it my WoW VJ's LTR thumbs up. I don't condone this button for competitive play, but if you need it to grind materials or whatever you're doing in an RPG or whatever game it is, feel free to use it, but don't be a jerk and use this on the battlefield, in Apex, in Call of Duty, whatever it may be. I'll see you all soon, and here's my outro. For those interested, I'll leave a link down below, but with that, I hope that y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to check out these others. If you really liked hanging out with me today, please consider subscribing. And if you want to support the channel just a bit more, click that join button down below to see my channel memberships, and maybe you'll see your name at the beginning or end of my next video. I'll see you all soon. Please stay safe out there. Bye.